As Ontario enters this second lockdown, there are noticeable and concerning differences when compared to the first lockdown in the spring. Cell phone mobility data shows far few people are staying home, and experts say the population has grown numb to the rising COVID-19 numbers. Not a typical Boxing Day. Empty parking lots across Ontario on day one of a second province-wide lockdown. But there were exceptions at some big box retailers that remain open. Crowds were lining up for deals and discounts.
It's a big, big problem. Because, if people are lining up and there's crowds there, it will defeat the purpose.
Cell phone data from Apple devices in Toronto shows the stark contrast in movement during the first lockdown compared to the second. In March, the number of people driving, walking, and using public transport dropped by more than 60%. By December, the numbers are back up almost to pre-pandemic levels, despite Toronto already having been in lockdown for over a month.
People are still much, much more active than they were with the lockdowns in March. People were much more frightened in March. And what I worry about is we've had so many numbers thrown at us for so long now that people may be a little bit numb to the reality of what we're actually dealing with.
The numbers in the city have remained steadily high. It's a concern for leaders outside Toronto now entering lockdown for the first time in the second wave. Durham Region had been in the red zone until now.
People have been in COVID-19 for 10 months now, and I think that they're exhausted, they're frustrated, anxiety is set in. I think people just are desperate to get back to some type of normal, and I think this one here really kind of took the wind out of everybody's sails.
Oshawa's mayor isn't expecting the lockdown to last beyond the 28-day period, but he is concerned about the timing.
What my worry is what is going to happen because of the holiday season. Are we going to see a spike? I'm hoping that 14 days from now, 20 days from now, we'll have a true indication about exactly that it is working. That's what my hope is.
In York Region, which has been in lockdown for 2 weeks, Vaughan's mayor says the vast majority of people are complying with the new rules.
I think the numbers would be much higher if we were not in a lockdown situation.
But he says lockdowns are not a long-term solution. And even with a vaccine now available in Ontario, society needs to adapt to be able to handle further waves and even future pandemics.
This is a marathon, it's not a sprint, and we have to learn to live with the virus. We cannot let a virus immobilize our communities and societies.
In Toronto, Peel, York, and Hamilton, which have already been in lockdown, not much will change over the next 28 days. In regions outside of that, non-essential businesses are now closed. That includes personal care services, as well as restaurants, except for takeout and delivery. Now, as we mentioned earlier in the show, the new variant of COVID-19 has been detected in Ontario. Our Karen Seolin has more on that.